Do you have neck and low back pain at all when you work out? Here's one simple, quick warm-up to help alleviate any of that and get your workout up to the next level. What's up everybody? Omid, Succeed with Omid, back again for another mobility video. I wanted to talk a lot about the spine and a quick warm-up on how to actually get rotation back into there to try and avoid neck and low back pain. But if I start talking about the common issues people have, they have a really tight chest, they have really weak obliques, tight lats, and really tight hips. They don't actually stretch their hips enough and move side to side. What ends up happening is the shoulders and the hips should rotate quite a bit. The challenge is when those get stuck, there's only one little section in the middle between those two guys. That's that lower back that starts to rotate by itself. I'm going to show you guys in a second how much range of motion that's actually supposed to have, and we go way beyond that. The challenge is we don't do it just when we exercise. We actually do it every time we take a step. There's a micro little bit of rotation in there. And if we're missing the rotation in the shoulders and the hips, every one of those 10 to 12,000 steps you're taking a day is a little micro tear in the spine. The last thing I want to talk about real quick before I show you my towel of science is if the shoulder is actually missing a lot of stretch here to be able to get back, what ends up happening is the neck will kick up to reach into the back seat of that car to grab or break up those kids, whatever you need to do. And that's where people start getting a lot of this neck pain. So these two are related. Two birds, one stone. Let's get to the towel sequence. I will show you guys on my actual body, and there's a really cool exercise to warm up the spine, but here is my spine, or towel. I made this end a lot thicker just because that's how the bones of the lower body are actually structured. They're a lot thicker and beefier at the bottom, and they don't really rotate that much. They got maybe about 15 degrees of rotation. Up here in the neck, we do have a lot. We should have quite a bit of mobility up here, and a lot of people are really missing a lot, but this isn't the section I want to talk about. It's right here. The difference between the lower back and what we call that thoracic section up here. Now, if I take both ends, and I pretend this is my hips and this is my head and shoulders, and I start rotating, you'll see there's not a lot of rotation here, but everything else in between here is actually rotating evenly, and that's the important part to remember. This middle portion right here should have somewhere about 45 to 70 degrees of rotation just by itself, and everything spread evenly along this towel, or spine if you will. The problem is that most people get really blocked here from desk sitting and all sorts of things like that, and they get blocked here from inactivity and also desk sitting, and this is kind of what we get. That whole rotation is happening just in that lower back, and that is no bueno. So I'm going to show you this on myself and show you that really awesome warm-up that I promised you guys at the beginning of this whole spiel. So this warm-up is designed to not only loosen up a whole lot of tissue around the spine and get the spine moving, but it's also to train the nervous system on how to actually do the rotation. So you might seem a little frustrated while you're doing this. You might notice that there's a whole lot of difference from left to right. Note those differences because they are quite important as you do them all day, every day, just in small little amounts. But for the sake of the workout, I'm going to get on my hands and knees. And what I'm going to do, you can use a rolled up towel or a foam roll or anything. I just got this tube of tennis balls, so I'm just going to throw it right on my low back. Don't worry about the arch of the low back. I know people go after neutral spine and everything like that. If you do this correctly, this won't move at all. So don't worry about that. But I'm going to brace into my pelvis. I'm going to hold my abs nice and super tight. I'm going to lock my hands right under my shoulders, turn the elbows forward, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my right hand behind my head and try and hold this. And I'm going to take this elbow all the way down to my left wrist without bending my left elbow, rotating slowly, and trying to come down without the elbow bending, without the shoulder collapsing, without that tube of tennis balls moving. And right about here is where I start to lose it. I can't make it all the way down there, that's fine. It's still the first one. And I'm going to rotate up, and this is where the breathing starts to get real hard because my obliques just kicked in. And after this is where that tube of tennis balls is going to go away. I felt it move. I'm going to keep going to show you guys what not to do. and there it goes. So, past this range of motion, this is only about 15 degrees backwards. Now, what do most people like to do when they're doing any type of crap Russian twists or anything? They like to twist way past that. Well, what's happening is their lower back is twisting, not their upper body, and their obliques are just not firing, okay? Here's the coolest part. If your spine is tight, it's not the biggest deal in the world. It just means that it needs to be warmed up. So if I do these in real time, about 5 or 6 seconds down, brace through, and then coming up and breathing. Finding that spot, bracing, then coming down again. And up again. And you'll notice I just picked up 5 degrees. Then down. And you'll notice I actually made it to the wrist. Really focusing on breathing, waking up the nervous system, getting blood flowing to a lot of these twisting, stabilizing muscles. The glute medius is part of this chain, so it's actually on fire on this right side. And now I should be able to almost show you guys my chest. My abs are on fire, my obliques are on fire, my butt is on fire. Most important thing though is my neck is fine, my low back is fine. Okay? 5 to 10 of these guys on each side will really go a long way in opening up that rotation, especially on your ab days, even lunge days. That is a rotation of the hips that you got to control. Try these out. Let me know how they go for you. If you have any questions, leave them down below or send me an email and I'll get back to you usually within about 5 minutes. I live on my phone. That's it for today. Have an awesome day.